Okay, so let's have a look at the solutions for these tasks. We had to analyze these three specifications, B, C, and D, and understand the reasons for unrealizability using a core or a counter strategy. So first, we should always check whether they're really unrealizable. So this one, oh, we only have three guarantees. That can't be so difficult. It's unrealizable. Okay. Let's see if the core tells us anything. There is a core of a single guarantee. This guarantee says always eventually we have a car on A and green A. And we say we never have green A and B together. So let's have a look at the counter strategy. So the core really just had a single thing here. So let's have a look at a counter strategy. The counter strategy is also quite simple, and just by looking at it we see that the environment always gives us false for cars on A and cars on B. So there is never any car coming on A, never any car coming on B. So we're clearly missing some assumption here, or maybe something is wrong with these guarantees, that they are not the right guarantees. But that's not the question right now. The question was to understand why it's unrealizable, and here it's unrealizable because there's no way we can satisfy this guarantee, and there's also no way we can satisfy this guarantee because there's simply no car coming. Okay, now let's look at the next one. So check realizability again. It's unrealizable. Now let's calculate a core to narrow down the problem. Oh, that doesn't narrow it down so much. It's simply all of the guarantees. So let's see if the counter strategy tells us anything. Well, at least the counter strategy is really simple. The counter strategy would send always a car on A and always a car on B. Now let's see why would that be a problem for any of these guarantees. Again, we can never have green lights at A and B at the same time, otherwise the cars might crash. And then it says always eventually we have to have a car on A, which implies that we also have green A. And now we see that here car A is always true, which means that really to make this implication true, we always eventually have to have a green light on A. Now we also have always a car on B, and here it says when there's a car on B, we just need to have the green light. So this is an always, not an always eventually, which means that this basically has to hold in every step. So in every step we need to have a green light on B, and together with this, that we can't have a green light on A and B together, we are basically forced to violate this, either this liveness guarantee, or we are forced to violate this safety guarantee or this safety guarantee. So basically that's why the core is so big, because all of them together they force us to not being able to realize the specification. If we would remove any of the guarantees, then the specification would be realizable. That is a property of the core because the core is always minimal. Okay, this was C, and the reason here was simply that if we have a car always coming on B, then there must be a green light on B, and then we can never have a green light on A because of this exclusion here. So that is why we have to violate this liveness assumption. Now let's have a look at the last one. We start again by checking realizability. It is unrealizable. We can try to compute a core. Again, it's all of them. And now if we check for a concrete controller, that was a concrete controller. So if we check for a counter strategy, then so this is actually a little bit of a tricky case because it says that we will be forced to a deadlock, but what we don't see is the outgoing transition that really forces us to deadlock. So what we see is here initially there is no car, and then no matter what we do, we end up in a dead state. But the reason why the state is dead is not really visible here. What happens in this state is that both cars will appear. We have both of them true. This means that green A must be true, green B must be true, but that's not possible. So this is how we basically deadlock the safety. We have a kind of deadlock through our safety guarantees.